hedge funds trade on news events?
Yes. So some hedge funds will try to anticipate what the news will be. So a classic example are non-farm payrolls. So that more or less tells you how many new jobs the private sector has put on, and it tries to compile data from the previous month's worth of surveys. And obviously that'll have a market impact if the number is way off. So therefore the question is, can you have a model that takes all the data from various sources and you come up with a figure yourself? And so effectively you're making a prediction. So that's incredibly difficult to do because obviously the data itself is very noisy. So your measurement error and then the observation error from the actual outcome could be all over the place. So that's one way to do it. And I certainly knew a guy, he was trading emerging markets and had big positions at various banks. He always believed that the inflation numbers governments pronounced were complete garbage. I mean, Jim Rogers obviously has gone as far as saying that the government is blatantly lying to you. Maybe, maybe not. Just check your travel tickets, how much they go up every year, or your house prices. But what this guy used to do, he used to actually go around Eastern Europe, because as emerging markets, that was one of his main focus, and he had his own basket of goods. He used to go around and actually go into supermarkets and look and construct his own inflation index, which usually we used to be completely off from what anybody else was publishing. So if you want to go down the route of trading the news, you have to go deep, you have to go low level, you really have to become familiar with the underlying data, and you can't just rely on somebody publishing something. Because what the market will do is it'll just react to that publication. So you have to have in advance a notion of, is that correct, is that not correct? So that's one way to do it. The second way to do it is to say, and this is where the high frequency guys come in, well, if anybody ever looked at over a minutely time frame what happens to the market prices when a news announcement comes, they're just all over the place. So that's obviously, if you have the right speed, a fantastic opportunity to capture the volatility and the moves. And that requires speed, infrastructure, and a whole bunch of other things. Now, from a retail perspective, the other way to do it is to say, any number that's completely out of the ordinary will, to a certain extent, create a policy shift. So the markets move because, to a certain extent, at some point, real money, what's called real money, so pension funds and corporations and treasury departments and central banks, they have to adapt their balance sheets corresponding to the new facts of life. And so that takes time. Somebody can't just come in and say, oh, you know, my view of the world has changed, let me just transact $100 billion today. It's just not going to happen. So that flow of money, that wave of money as it floods the market can be ridden. And so the question therefore is, do you get these kinds of big moves? And the classic example I think that happened most recently was when in May 2014, Draghi came out and indicated that the ECB was considering quantitative easing. So the Eurodollar at the time was trading at 140, 145, something like that. Literally from 2014 until 2016, Eurodollar did only one thing. It just went one way down, low volatility, just completely one way. And with every meeting, he reiterated and more rumors came out. So it's very clear. So we had a policy shift and money was adapting and people could have ridden it. So I think that's for a retail trader the real way to trade. It's about looking at these big important announcements that drive individual markets and then looking at how the market reacts. Because here's the big thing. People say, oh, I have to be a Fed watch, or I have to actually understand the statement. Well, no, you just have to see how the market looks at it and then follow the market. And that's, to a certain extent, what all these news trading strategies should be. Has it been out of the ordinary? Well, you'll see that because of all the news announcements, newspapers all over the place. Is the market reacting? Okay, let me follow.